Namaste, parents, and a very warm welcome to you on this Parent Tune workshop. My name is Nidhi, and I'm excited to host this session for you today. Joining us for this workshop to answer all your queries on how to bridge the nutrition gap for a fussy eater, I have with me our expert senior nutritionist, Dr. Huda Shaikh. A very warm welcome to you, and we're so happy to have you.
Thank you so much, Nidhi. It's lovely to be here again.
Yes. So, Huda, talking about today's topic, could you start off by telling us why is it important for parents to know more about this?
Absolutely. I think, Nidhi, the first question that arises as and when the child is growing older is parents tend to say that their child has become fussy or their child is not eating enough or the child wants to eat specific foods. Now, when we talk about fussy eaters, we need to realize that from the time we start giving semi solids to our child, we start introducing new foods into their routine, into their diet as and when months pass. So when we start with semi solids, we usually start with rice, dal, or different kinds of porridges, pureed fruits, vegetables. So I think as and when the child is growing a month older, once your child is 7 months old, 8 months old, then you can start introducing some different foods, some different whether it's a rice preparation, it could be a khichdi, it could be a puree of a different fruit or a vegetable. You can start slightly experimenting with your child's food. You can mix two vegetables together, you can mix dal and rice together. So as and when the child is growing up, and if the child says no to a particular food, say for example your child does not like the taste of spinach or carrot or beetroot, then you need to ensure that you reintroduce it into your child's routine or diet after a week or 15 days. Because if your child is saying no to a particular food and we end up saying that okay, if he's not eating, let him not eat it, or it's absolutely fine if he's not wanting to eat it, so we end up removing that food from the child's routine or from the child's diet. And once you remove it from your child's routine and your child does not eat it again, then your child will never eat it, because the first few months and the first few years are the time when you are going to mold your child, and where your child will understand the taste of different foods, different fruits and vegetables. And your child will, it is like an experimenting phase for your child, because your child is going to be on breast milk for 6 months, and post that then you will start giving certain foods to your child. And also it is important that if a child becomes a fussy eater, it's also because we don't give certain foods, and also because once the child is a year old, we start introducing outside foods or packaged processed foods like biscuits, chips, chocolates and all of these things. And because these foods have more of salt and sugar in them, and also hydrogenated fats, your child will end up liking these foods because they are very tasty in nature. And when there's a lot of salt, when there's a lot of masala in it, it's going to taste good. So when your child gets a different taste, your child will start lapping onto it, or your child will start eating those foods. So few things that we need to remember as parents is that when the child is growing up, we should avoid removing any food group from the child's diet. As the child sits for meals with you, avoid saying a no for anything in front of your child. In case you don't like spinach yourself, or you don't like methi yourself, avoid saying no for it in front of your child, because children will always learn from your actions and not from the words you tell them. So as parents, we need to be a little cautious. If we start introducing different foods, if we start introducing different tastes in our child's diet, then there are lesser chances that our child will end up becoming picky or fussy. And we should avoid giving options like, whether it's noodles or whether it is chips packets, biscuits, because if our child is not eating, we want him to eat something or the other, but these foods are not going to provide your child with the nutrition your child needs during his or her growing years. So I think if we keep all these pointers in mind, our children will not end up becoming fussy, and they'll absolutely eat everything that we feed them with. Yes, Nidhi.
Thank you so much, Huda. So, also, why do you think that children actually become fussy eaters?
Right. So children end up becoming fussy eaters when, firstly, as I said, that we start removing foods from their diet, or because if your child does not like beetroot, chalo kal se we will not give beetroot, so the child has not eaten beetroot for a month or two, and then you will try, if you try to give it to your child is going to say no to it. So when we start removing a certain food group, secondly, when we start giving too many options to our child, okay, if you're not eating this, I will give you this, if you're not eating this, I will give you something else. So when we end up giving too many options to our child, that is also when they end up becoming fussy eaters. And thirdly, it is when a lot of outside foods, processed packaged foods are introduced into their diet at an early stage, is when they want to start eating all those foods and they don't want to eat home cooked food. So there could be various reasons. I mean, at times, somebody gets them a chocolate every day, or somebody ends up getting, a pack of biscuit or a chips, and it is said that nahi bacha hai khane do kind of a thing. So when this happens, and if there is somebody who's continuously getting all these foods and processed foods, packaged foods, for them, they obviously know that if they are not eating a certain food, they are going to get something else. So when children get too many options in front of them, and when they know that if they get angry, if they start crying, if they say I don't want to eat it, so children have a different way of saying that I will not eat it. Either they will start throwing tantrums, or they will start saying that I don't want it with their hands, with actions, or they will start crying. So usually parents get scared that, okay, he's crying or she's crying, so I should not give this food to my child. And that's when, that's how they understand that this behavior is affecting their parent, or affecting somebody around, which is why they will not have to eat this food. So firstly, I would tell all the parents to develop a very friendly relationship with your child. And whenever you're feeding your child, when once your child is a year old, 1.5, 2 years old, develop a very friendly relationship with your child. Sit together for meals, don't feed your child separately, let your child see what all you are eating and what all he or she can also eat. At the same time, stop giving gadgets, or just like we have phones, we have iPads, we have laptops. Stop, avoid all these things in front of your child. Try making a very conducive environment while you're eating, or and play with them in case you want your child to, if you want your child to get slightly distracted, it's fine, you can maybe play with them and feed them meals, or you can tell them stories, you can tell them poems. So you can do these things, you can sing songs. So I mean, these are ways in which you can keep your child entertained also, and you can give your child the meal he or she wants to eat or should be eating for their optimum growth. So I would say that avoid gadgets as much as possible. Sit together for meals, keep their meals presentable. We can use simple vegetables. You can simply use salad sticks, cucumbers, carrots, or beetroot, and you can decorate your child's food. Very basic decorations. You don't have to add too many elements into it. So, this will ensure that your child eats it. Keep their plate colorful. Ensure that you're introducing different foods every day. If you've given moong dal today, make it, tur or masool dal the next day. So you can keep on changing, their meals. So they get the idea, get the taste of everything, and they are happy eating everything. Yes, Nidhi.
So, Huda, like you mentioned right now, that it's very important that we make our child's meal very presentable. So, some tips onto the same if you could give our parents.
Right. So as I said, when it comes to making meals presentable, you can simply use, salad sticks, or you can use fruits and you can cut them into, different. So we get these cookie cutters also in the market. They are usually used for baking and for making cookies. So you can get, you can make the child's food in different cutouts. So say for example, you've made a khichdi, so you have these star cutouts, you have these flower cutouts, or you have these triangle cutouts. So you can maybe use these cookie cutouts for actually decorating your child's food. You can even use a simple bowl, you can add some khichdi into it, and you can just uh, maybe take a plate and put it on that, and then decorate, maybe make a smiley face on it with the help of, we get these small ketchup packets. But I would not suggest using a lot of ketchup. It could be once a while. And or you can simply use these vegetables that we have. You can just cut them, whether it's a carrot, whether it's a cucumber, whether it's a coriander, or it's a mint leaf. You can actually use these to decorate your child's food, even if it is a basic porridge that you're making. So in the bowl, maybe you can add some strawberries, and you can just arrange those strawberries if you're adding strawberries, or you're adding banana, or you can drizzle some honey onto it. So these are some ways in which you can make your child's food more presentable. You don't really have to do too many things to keep your child's food presentable. If it is colorful, if it looks good, there are higher chances that your child would want to eat it, as opposed to something which looks very bland, which looks very simple to them, because they want to see colors, and that is what they can recognize. So that is why it is important to keep the food more colorful. So that's why you can use different foods, you can do use different fruits and vegetables to make their foods more presentable and colorful. Yes, Nidhi.
So, Huda, onto the same lines, we have a question from Zenat who says, my big problem is my daughter is refusing to take food and her weight is 8.5 kgs and she's 18 months old. Please, can you suggest how to increase her weight by different foods?
Right. Nidhi, can you just repeat her weight? And also, I just didn't get something in between. I missed it
Yeah.
out.
So, it's the weight is 8.5 kgs and she's 18 months old. So,
Okay. And
she
she's
refuses
refusing
to,
to take food.
yeah, she's refusing to eat anything, any food.
Okay. So, firstly, hi. It could be because just check if your child has temperature, or she's facing any kind of stomach issues, or if she has any kind of pain in her body. That could be one reason. The other reason could be that during this age there are chances that there can be worm infestation also, because of which your child may refuse to eat things, or your child may end up your child's appetite may go down. So what you can do is, one thing, you can check with your pediatrician once. The other thing you can do it, as we've been talking about different foods, so you can maybe start your child's morning with, if you're continuing with breast milk, you can give breast milk, or if you're giving formula feed, you can start with formula feed, or it could be any normal milk that we have. And in that you can maybe add half a teaspoon of roasted nuts powder. So you can roast couple of nuts, that's almonds, walnuts, pistachios, just one fourth katori. And you can just dry roast it if you want to, or you can roast it in ghee also. You can powder it, and you can add about 1/4 teaspoon of this into your child's milk if you want to give normal milk. Then post that, you can give any healthy porridges. You can make different kinds of, you can make an idli, you can make an uttapam, you can make a pancake, you can make a mini paratha, or a mini sandwich can be given to your child. Post that, you may, if in between your child is hungry, then you can give breast milk, or if you feel there is scope for a fruit, you can maybe add some fruit. Any seasonal fruit is fine. Could be an apple, it could be strawberry, maybe one or two if your child likes it. And then after that, you can, for lunch, you can give different kinds of soups. It could be a vegetable soup, it could be a protein based soup, a dal soup, dal and carrot soup, and or it could be a khichdi, or it could be simply dal chawal, or it could be dal khichdi, it could be plain moong khichdi or sprouted moong khichdi. In the evening, again, you can maybe make a smoothie with fruits and yogurt, or you can just make a milkshake if your child is comfortable with that. Or if you want to give something else, so you can again make mini idlis or a mini uttapam and give it to your child if your child is saying that she's hungry, so they have their own way of saying it. So in case she says that she's hungry, then you can maybe make these small mini idlis and you can give it to her. Or a smoothie, 1 cup, small cup of smoothie is also fine. Post that, or if this is not possible, again you can give any seasonal fruit to your child. And for dinner, again, you can give soups, you can give khichdi. If you've not given pancake or uttapam or idli, or say for example any chilla in the morning, then you can give that, or a paratha, you can give that for dinner. And also, if your child does not have enough teeth to chew it, what you can do is, whatever you are making, ensure that it is very soft. So if it's an idli, if it's an uttapam, just ensure that it's very soft. Or you can maybe mix it with, if it's an idli, you can mix it with some sambar, soften it, and then give it to your child. So these are few ways in which you can feed your child. Don't worry about her weight, but I would suggest that you see the doctor once to ensure that there's nothing else apart from just the appetite issue. And If your child starts consuming everything, then she'll get back to her normal weight. You don't need to worry about it. And but yes, you need to definitely check if it's worm infestation. Yes, Nidhi.
So, Huda, like you mentioned about seeking a doctor, can you also give us some warning signs for parents to help them understand that, okay, this is the time that I should seek a doctor and understand that if there's no issues present in my child?
Absolutely. So, Nidhi, there are few signs. Firstly, if your child is constantly crying or has become very cranky off late, and secondly, your child refuses to eat anything that you are giving him or her. So, initially, your child ate the same foods very happily, but now your child does not want to see those foods as well. So this could be, and your child's appetite has gone down drastically. So say for example, if your child was taking one whole katori of soup or one whole katori of khichdi, now your child is only eating about one fourth of it, or maybe just 2 tablespoons, and your child is saying, I'm full, I don't want to eat more. Then you also see that you can also see if there is a change in the color of the child's poop. Then also you should see if your child is urinating excessively, or your child is not urinating as much as he or she used to do before. So then also it could be some kind of a problem. But usually whenever a child is in pain, or whenever your child is not feeling well, whenever they have, whether it's colic, even when there is more of gas production that's happening, they will always cry. Okay, because that is the only thing that they can do, and that's the only way they can tell their parents or somebody around that I'm not feeling well or I'm not feeling good. So I think if your child has become excessively cranky, then you definitely need to seek and an expert. And also with the changing climate, there are chances that your child may have a change in the appetite. Also your child may be finding it uncomfortable, because as I said that their immunity also takes a hit when the climate is changing, because their body is not used to it. So even because of that, the child's appetite may go down, or your child may be more cranky, or your child may be facing colic, or there may be certain foods that may be causing a problem. So you need to check everything, and if you are feeling that there are certain foods that are giving a problem, then try stop those foods for 10 minutes maybe, and then try reintroducing it and understanding if there is a problem with these foods. Because at times some children may end up being lactose intolerant. So if you introduced milk or milk products at a later stage, and you feel that your child is not able to adapt to it, or your child has diarrhea or a stomach upset, then there could be chances that your child is lactose intolerant. So you need to check for all these things, and if in case you are not understanding anything, it is always best to see a pediatrician. Yes, Nidhi.
Thank you so much, Huda, for that. Also, Huda, could you give us some ways that, I mean, tips rather, that can we can inculcate right from the beginning so that our children don't end up being a fussy eater?
Absolutely. So, as I mentioned, that when your child is growing up, so when it comes to weaning, okay, to weaning too early or weaning too late, both of these can pose a problem. So, what you need to do is weaning at the right age. So, say for example, your child is 4 months old now, and somebody has told you that you should start with weaning. But ideally, if your child is on breastfeed, okay, and your child is satisfied with the feed, your child's weight is optimum, your child is growing properly, then you don't have to introduce any kind of semi solids until your child turns 6 months of age. There can be exceptions in children who have been on formula feed right from the beginning, and they may not be getting enough nutrition, or there may be chances that there's a need to bridge the gap. So in that case, sometimes parents may be asked to start with semi solids. But if you are breastfeeding your child and your child is satisfied, I would say 6 until 6 months you should only breastfeed your child and not give your child anything else. Because introducing foods very early can be problematic, introducing foods very late can be problematic as well. As soon as your child turns 6 months old, you should ensure that you start introducing semi solids into your child's diet. And also, when we talk about the consistency of the food, it should not be too thin, it should not be too thick. If it is too thin, if it is too watery, just like we say dal ka pani, chawal ka pani, there is no nutrition in dal ka pani and chawal ka pani because it's only water. So that's why it has to be thin, it has to be of a thin consistency, but it can be of a soupy consistency. And then it shouldn't be very thick, because if you're going to give something which is very thick, your child will not like it and your child will not like the taste. Because what we need to remember is, for 6 months your child has been on breast milk, and breast milk has a very thin consistency. It is very very thin. So I mean, and that at that point in time, if you are going to start with something that is very thick, then your child will not enjoy it. So keep it of a soupy consistency. Start with rice soups, dal soups, different porridges, and different fruits. You can start with carrots, beetroot, spinach. You can maybe boil it slightly and then puree it. Even with fruits, you can stew apple, pear, and you can give it to your child. Multiple mashed and given, mashed potatoes can be given, or sweet potatoes can be given if they are in season. So this is how you start introducing foods into your child's diet and routine, as and when he or she turns 6 months of age. Now once your child has completed 6 months, you start with weaning, and you start giving your child whatever is required. Now if at times there are parents who introduce semi solids at a very later age, say for example, once their child has turned 8 months old or 9 months old is when they start introducing semi solids. Now I'd like to bring this to everybody's notice that until 6 months breast milk is enough to provide all the nutrition to your child. But after 6 months your child's nutritional requirements increase, and that is what your breast milk will not be able to satisfy. So that's why you will have to introduce semi solids as and when your child turns 6 months of age. And if you introduce it very late, your child will start refusing foods and your child would not want to eat it, because for them taking in breast milk is very easy as compared to eating meals. So they don't have to work really hard, so that's why they will prefer breast milk over food. So that is where sometimes we may go wrong. And also you can start introducing certain foods. If your child is 9 or 10 months old, you can start introducing some yogurt if you want to see whether your child is can tolerate lactose or no. So yogurt can be given, maybe little bit of crumbled paneer can be added to the khichdi and given to your child, and see you can see if your child is tolerating it well. So these few foods can be added. Once your child is a year old, you can start giving all the foods to your child, and everything that your child likes can be given to the child, apart from processed, packaged, or outside foods. And one important thing we need to remember is that until a year we should not introduce sugar, salt into our child's diet, because or excessive amounts of masalas, because then this is something your child may not be able to digest. And too much of sugar and salt can be a toxin for your child. It is not something that the child's body can clean out. So that's why you should avoid doing all these things. And once your child is a year old, maybe you can start giving your child everything. It could be roti, sabzi, dal, chawal, khichdi, whatever we have, whatever we adults consume, it can completely be given to the child, but in lesser quantities. Yes, Nidhi.
Thank you so much, Huda. So also Shweta, who has a 1-year-old child, says my son is 1 year old. He doesn't like fruits. I have tried giving him fruits in all different forms. He doesn't eat that at all. How can I make him eat fruits?
Right. So, where fruits are, what's the age of the child, Nidhi?
1 year old.
1 year old. Okay. So, preferably what can be done is, since your child is already a year old, you can start introducing fruits in the following ways. So one, you can add it to porridges. Okay, so since we give a lot of porridges to our child, so porridges is one way in which we can add fruits. The other way of adding fruits is in the form of a kheer. So if you are, say for example, if you are making a rice kheer, or if you are making a semolina kheer, then you can add fruits into it. You can puree it and you can add it into it. You can make milkshakes, you can make smoothies, you can make a fruit custard, you can make a fruit pudding. Okay. And at times you can make these once your child is slightly older. Once your child is 2 years old, you can start making these popsicles which are made of natural fruits that we can make at home. You can make this as well. Also at times, if you're, you can also give like a yogurt lassi, and in that you can add some pureed fruit and you can give it to your child. So these are a couple of ways in which you can give fruits, to your child. And even after that, if you feel that your child has become accustomed to the taste of fruits and is liking fruits, then gradually you can start giving, small pieces of fruits to your child. Or whenever, you can even make a fruit kebab where you can actually put everything. You can actually take one small piece, and in that you can start adding all different kinds of fruits skewer. So you can take a skewer and you can start adding fruits into it. You can make it in the form of a kebab, and you can kind of drizzle some honey onto it, and you can give it to your child. So it can be, it can serve the purpose of, a lollipop, or it can serve the purpose of a kebab, whichever seems better. These are ways in which you can introduce fruits into your child's diet. And once you see that your child is accepting it, you can start giving pieces of fruits. And you can, even start experimenting with the kind of, different preparations you can make with fruits. Yes, Nidhi.
Thank you so much, Huda. Hope this answers your question. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to write them in. We are joined by our parenting expert, Huda Shaikh, to talk about how to bridge the nutrition gap for a fussy eater. Huda, like you mentioned about fruits, could you also emphasize a little upon nuts and vegetables?
Right, sure. So when it comes to vegetables, again, many parents have this question, and they are worried as to why their child is not eating vegetables, or how we can make our child eat vegetables. So when it comes to vegetables, now again, vegetables can be added into the child's diet in various forms. One is, if, say for example, if you are making a pancake, so pancakes can usually be savory or sweet. So if you are making a pancake, in that pancake you can add grated vegetables. So it could be a spinach, it could be beetroot, it could be dudi, or it could be any other vegetable, it could be carrots. So you can add different vegetables into that particular pancake, and you can give it to your child. It can be either grated, or you can cut it into very small pieces and add it into the batter. Similarly, you can, make a vegetable dosa, or you can make a vegetable uttapam. You can puree the vegetables and you can add it to the uttapam. So, if it's a beetroot, then it will look red in color. It will look more presentable. So you can make a beetroot uttapam. Then again, the same can go for paratha. So if you're making a paratha, usually, we whatever we have to put, we put it inside the batter, or we put it inside the dough. So if you're making a paratha, then for that also you can, make these mini parathas where you can add dudi into it, you can add spinach into it, you can add beetroot into it, you can add carrot into it. Because these are some vegetables that children are more accustomed to in the initial years. So you can start by introducing, you can add other vegetables also if you like, some exotic vegetables like zucchini or broccoli. Or even if it is cauliflower, you can kind of boil it a little, mash it a little, just like we make aloo ka paratha. Similarly, you can make, a mixture of cauliflower, and you can add it to, the pancake, or to the paratha, or to, an idli, or a dosa, or an uttapam. And then soups. So we have different kinds of soups that we make, so you can also add it in the form of soups. Okay, so you can, or you can give sauteed vegetables to your child with rice, or you can add these vegetables into the rice itself. You can make something like a fried rice, which is made at home. So these are few ways in which you can add vegetables. I mean, you can make different preparations out of it. Again, try and keep it very presentable so that your child likes to eat it. So you can add vegetables to khichdis, you can make pulaus, you can make biryanis, you can make, dalia khichdi, you can make a dalia porridge which has vegetables in it. Or you can maybe make an oats upma, or you can have some poha in which you can add these vegetables, finely chop these vegetables and add it into your child's food. So these are ways in which you can, add vegetables. Where nuts and seeds are concerned, in the first 3 years, I would suggest that it's always better to roast these nuts, whether it's dry roasting or whether it is roasting it in ghee, and then powdering it and giving it to your child. So it can be added to milkshakes, it can be added to smoothies, it can be added to porridges, it can be simply added to, a glass of milk or a cup of milk, or any sweet that you are making for your child. So you can powder it and you can give it to your child, because at times, since they don't have enough teeth to chew it, it may end up choking them if you just give them the whole nut. So avoid giving that. Rather powder it and give it with milk or with anything else that I have mentioned. You can add it to puddings also, or just sprinkle it on the fruits also. That is also absolutely fine. So these are ways in which nuts can be given, as well as vegetables can be given to children. Yes, Nidhi.
Thank you so much, Huda.